What's up? Welcome back to the Becoming Shameless podcast. I'm your host, Nicholas Wallace,
I'm your host, Josiah Baines.
and this is episode 4 Truth or Dare. We'll be discussing honesty. So, what is the importance in your mind of honesty?
Honesty is important because it funnels out um, everything that's inside of you to other people. So, being honest with yourself is the most important thing. So, you have to start by knowing what it is you're doing and how you're doing it and what you're feeling inside and just being able to be more self-aware. And I feel like that's a big co-part of honesty is self-awareness. And so once you're able to be honest with yourself, then you're able to be honest with other people. Because one thing about lying is when you're a liar, the biggest lie is you're telling is the lie to yourself. So when you lying to other people, you're lying to yourself first about something. Most of all, it always starts there. So same thing with honesty. When you're being honest to other people, you gotta start by being honest with yourself.
Yeah. I always say you lie to yourself more than you lie to anybody else because you're always trying to convince yourself because everything kind of goes back to that ego and everything always everything starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything because how you treat others has more to do with you than them. So if you're not honest with yourself, you can't really work on the things that you fault at. And if you can't do that, it will project itself onto other people. So it's very important to be honest with yourself first. But we never really describe like how to be honest with yourself. Like everybody's like, oh, you need to be honest with yourself, be real with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we do that?
A self-assessment, for me at least, I know I gotta go through um, what it is I'm doing because I got a tendency to tell like a quick lie. Like I'll like I'll like have something like a situation or something, and like I don't know why it is, but the first instinct would be like, just lie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in my head, like I'm like, just lie about that, and I'm like, no, like you actually have to be subconscious and make the conscious effort of being honest, and you have to do that all the time, and you have to do that with yourself too. So it's like if you're feeling some way, or let's say in the simple terms, you had a long day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do this a lot. I'll be like, you know what I'm saying, my day not that long. I'm not tired. I like you keep telling yourself like I'm not tired. I'm like, cause it's that hustle, that grind mentality that we've ingrained into ourselves as a culture. And sometimes you just gotta stop and be like, no, I am tired. I'm gonna keep going, but and you talk about that, and I am tired. So,
for sure.
yeah.
I think that's very important, like the whole self assessment thing. That's a very important quality, like in the self awareness, because if you don't know what you're doing, then you really won't know how you're treating others in the process, and you won't even know that you're lying to others. Because I feel like sometimes it's like there's studies that have been shown. Remember, we took psychology in high school, and it's like if you lie to yourself enough, you will believe it, and that will become your truth.
Yeah.
So you don't realize inherently you're lying to others because the truth that you've come to accept wasn't the truth. It's just the lie you convinced yourself of.
Right.
And I feel that's what we do a lot of times because I feel like I said, the ego wants to protect your feelings, so you will lie to yourself sometimes unbeknownst to yourself that you're lying to yourself, and then it just trickles down to other people. But nah, I agree. I completely agree. I think in terms of like what it takes or how do we tell the truth, I feel there has to be a relinquish of control. And I think a lot of questions have to be asked. I think a lot of times we speak very fast, like the need to respond. We kind of spoke in the last episode, like the need to respond in a certain manner.
Yeah.
I feel like before you speak, you have to ask yourself questions first. Like one question I always ask myself when I'm speaking is, where is this coming from?
Right.
So say if there's a beautiful woman I'm friends with and she legitimately asks my advice on like her relationship.
Right.
Am I really feeling like this relationship isn't good for her, or do I want her?
Yeah.
Where is this place coming from? Or say it was somebody who hurt my feelings and they asked my opinion on their outfit. Do I really hate them shoes, or am I really just upset with them and I want to hurt them?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to ask, you know what I'm saying, where is this coming from? How do I really feel about it? and really try to dissect before we speak. And I think that's why, like, even the Bible is like, be slow to speak, fast to listen. Because when you speak, you'll just say something and you don't really, there's power in your words.
Right.
So I feel like it's very important to ask yourself those questions.
When it comes to other people, to piggyback on what you said, I feel like a big thing is putting other people first, and I think that kind of correlates with understanding and being honest about where whatever you're saying is coming from. So if I'm able to put the other person first before I put myself first in a certain situation like that, I'm more able to quickly recognize, like, yo, like they are clearly in a certain space right now, and I realize that whatever my motive is for saying what I want to say is not a pure motive, then I probably shouldn't say it. So that, I feel like those two kind of
that's my inner, like, that's a lot of my inner dialogue. It's like, is it really like a true thing I'm saying? Is it like pure heart,
yeah,
or is there a motive? Because behind almost every action, and it's not always bad, but there's a motive.
Yeah,
because you want to benefit.
Right.
So I'm really asking myself, is this what I should say, or what I want to say?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that is very important. So
we talked about last week about that whole video with the guy at the recital and everything.
Yeah.
And the whole telling the truth. Is always telling the truth the best option, and in terms of considering the setting and, you know, the time and place and
it's
stuff
not
like that?
I don't think so.
Right.
I think it's a time and place for everything based on, like, the setting. I feel like telling the truth is always the best thing you can do, but the timing of it matters and how you do it too. Because the truth, I can, you know, a lot of people, especially like younger people, the whole blunt thing, right?
Yeah.
People hide disrespect behind the phrase "I'm being blunt" or "I'm just real," which I ain't gonna lie. Even in my younger days, I was like that. And I remember, like, my sister told me, she was like, "You don't have to be hurtful to tell the truth." And I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, you can tell the truth without being harsh.
Right.
But people like to mask animosity behind the truth or behind a joke. Like, there's a saying, behind every joke there's a little bit of truth. So if I make a joke like, "Boy, you built like Fat Albert," I think you're fat. Like, it's a joke, but I think you're fat. Or like me, I'm short, and they be like, "Oh, you know what I'm saying, like, you a leprechaun." You making fun of me because I'm short. You think I'm short.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's funny, but, like, behind every joke there, because the thing about it is, a jester is one of the smartest people in society, or a comedian, right? Because they take the truth and they make you laugh behind it. Because behind everything a comedian says, there is truth to it, and that's what makes it actually funny. It's the ability to be able to tell the truth in a way that's humorous and distracts you from the harshness of the truth.
You know, it's crazy. Comedians can really dissect people's truth without even having to be around them very long. Like, comedians can have like a 10-minute conversation with you and be able to come up with 20 different
Break
jokes.
You down,
exactly.
yeah.
Like, they can really, like, dissect everything that you said to them and come up with a truth about that, which is really
because the comedians in control of the room, because they know how to manipulate everybody's emotions, or take, like I said, to bend the truth to appease the person, even though it's a harsh reality, and that's the beauty in it. But, like, I think, like, a lot of people in the world, they hide their animosity behind the truth and how they relay their information, which I feel like gives the truth a harsh thing. Because, like, I know that the truth hurts, and it does. Like, no matter what, the truth will hurt, but there's a way to cushion it. And a lot of people don't try to. They try to, like I said, they try to use all their harsh feelings behind the truth when they could cushion it, make the blow easier. Like, there's no nice way to tell somebody your breath stinks, but, like, you could cushion it. You don't have to be like, "You smell like SHIT." You could just be like, "Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie, here's some gum." You know what I'm saying? But people like to humiliate and demoralize people behind the truth, which gives the truth a hard rep.